Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. We are going to be processing a bunch of the garlic that we peeled together the other day. And we have some exciting house updates that I need to share with you. But before I share with you those house updates, I thought we would go ahead and get some projects going that can passively be working, and then I'll show you the updates. And we're also going to cook dinner together. So this is 1 gallon bag full of peeled garlic, and I'm just going to throw this into our Dutch oven. And we're gonna make confit garlic, which is basically garlic that is cooked in fat. I think confit is French for fat, but I could be wrong. This is some avocado oil, and we're gonna get 2 products for the price of 1 with this project. We not only are gonna get the roasted confit garlic that is gonna be delicious, but we are also going to get the oil that is infused with all that garlic flavor. So I'm gonna put all the avocado oil I have in my house in this pot. This is really, really good quality avocado oil. And then we are still have more space in this pot. I don't want to waste that space, so I am gonna go ahead and put in some olive oil as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set the lid on this, and we're gonna cook this low and slow, and I'm gonna kind of let it heat up quickly. So I am gonna turn it up just a little bit, but as soon as that oil is warm, we're gonna turn it down, and we are going to let this cook low and slow, probably for a good 45 minutes, until those garlic cloves are nice and roasty and toasty. First project started, so let's get on our project number 2. Project number 2 couldn't be any easier. We're gonna make powdered garlic. I threw these 2 bags of garlic that have been peeled in the freezer, so they would be ready for us to turn into peeled garlic. Whew, it's spicy smelling. So I'm gonna put 1 layer thick. I'm going to take these elephant garlic cloves out. I'm going to keep this probably 1/8 of a gallon bag of peeled garlic whole, and I'm going to stick this back in my freezer. Garlic freezes beautifully. You can take the cloves out and chop them up. It only takes about 30 seconds of them being out of the freezer, and you can chop them up really, really easily. So if you want to cook, this is what my mom does for a trick. She buys her garlic cloves already peeled at Costco. You can get a big bag, and she stores that in the freezer so she can have fresh garlic and cook with it, but she doesn't have to peel it all the time. So that's what I'm going to take her advice on that. But she does say for long-term storing in the freezer, it's best if you triple bag it. So I'm going to reuse these 2 bags, and I'm going to put it in those 2 bags so that we don't have our freezer completely get taken over with the smell of garlic. And so that will be for fresh eating. Maybe we should bake these biscuits today. Remember we did a test on these to see how well the frozen biscuits bake up? Maybe we'll get to that. I don't know. It doesn't really go with tonight's dinner. There we go. Found a spot for it. Before we started even heating up our oil, I turned the freeze dryer on to cool. So we can bring these out to the freeze dryer and put them directly into the freeze dryer. So it says that our freeze dryer has cooled enough, so we can go ahead and put our frozen garlic right into the freeze dryer. We're gonna close it, and it's going. The cool thing about a freeze dryer when it comes to freeze drying garlic or onions, anything that's really, really stinky, is that because it's done in a vacuum, it doesn't smell the entire room that it's being freeze dried in. On the other hand, if you are to dehydrate, these are my 2 dehydrators, garlic or onions, it does permeate the entire room that it's in, the smell. So you need to make sure, if you want to dehydrate onions or garlic, to do it outside your house. I learned that the hard way. But with a freeze dryer, you don't need to worry about that. So now what this is saying is it's freezing. These garlics are already frozen, so once it senses that, it'll skip the freezing step and go straight to freeze drying. That'll probably take a good 18 hours or so to freeze dry. So once that's done, we'll come back and we will go ahead and powder it up into garlic powder. And just like that, we have technically three different things of garlic preservation projects going. We have our confit garlic, our garlic infused oil, which is one, our freeze dryer, which we're turning into powder, and now I want to show you what happened with the remodel this morning that I am so excited about. So there's quite a few different projects going on in this room, and we haven't really talked about them together. If you remember, one of the biggest things we did is right here in this entry, there was a big black wall that didn't go all the way to the ceiling, but almost. And what that did is when you came into the front door, you saw a big black wall and you couldn't see the view. And one of the big reasons we bought this property is for the view. So we took the wall out, but there was a big gaping hole in the floor since probably July. And we went ahead and we had someone fix this hole for us.
So this is what the hole looked like this morning. There was about 1.5 inch or 2 inch hole where it dropped down because it was missing part of the subfloor. So they built the floor up and then they were able to kind of patch in the hole. They did need to cut the hole and make it a little bit wider just to clean up the edges to make sure everything was nice and straight. And I am so grateful that this is finally taken care of. No more tripping hazard. You don't have to walk around it. And I'm just really grateful that we now have no hole in our floor.
I am so happy with how it turned out. I know it's not perfect because it's going the opposite direction, but I think people are less likely to notice this than a big black wall. So that is really exciting that this has officially been done. We can check this off the list. And while they were here, I was like, hey, could you also fix this area right here? There used to be a transition strip that was raised that went from the living room into the kitchen and dining room, and your foot would feel it. It's not that big of a deal, but it was something that it wasn't the best feeling on your foot when you stepped on that transition. And one of my goals is to buy a bassinet that has wheels on it. And I had a feeling that, say baby was sleeping and there is a lip there and it goes from room to room, that would probably not be ideal. And because Josh is the one who does all the vacuuming in here, it also was kind of something that the vacuum would get caught on. And so they just made a really nice flush transition on this area here and on this one too. So there used to be a transition strip that went from this hall into the living room right here as well. And they went ahead and they took that out and now it's all flush. I'm not gonna step on it, but now your foot is not going to get caught on that transition strip. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's just one of those like tiny little things that in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, but it was kind of like, it irked me just a little bit. So to have it done and they were able to do it in a matter of 1.5 hours this morning, I am so grateful that it's done. A couple other things that have been happening in here is you all knew we were going to change out these switches. Josh has all the switches now changed out in the whole house, so we have white switches instead of beige switches. The other thing Josh has been working on, I'm gonna turn the light off a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, is he's replacing these round circle can lights with these square ones. So before I show you what they're gonna start working on tomorrow, I'm going to turn this down because our oil is starting to bubble. And I want this to cook really low and slow. So I turned it to a really, really low flame. And we're gonna let this garlic just cook away for a good 45 minutes to 1 hour. But let me go show you what they're gonna work on tomorrow. So we are now upstairs in this bonus area, and we haven't been up here in forever together because nothing has happened up here. I'm kind of turning you around so you can see the area. And what we've been waiting on were the doors to come because we are replacing all these doors and we're putting indoors because like this closet here, when we purchased the house, it never had a door on it. And I'm envisioning this closet to be games, this is gonna be kind of like a rec area. So I don't want all the shelves and the games to be exposed. So we had to order doors for up here. And the doors that were on these bedroom, bathroom, and closets were all mismatched. They didn't match. So we ordered the doors. We thought we ordered the doors. They weren't ordered. So by the time we ordered them, it has been 3 or 4 months. And now we have them and they're gonna be installed tomorrow, which means once we have doors, Josh can start putting all the trim and base and millwork up here. And so what we did the other day is we opened this window and we took all the trim that was in the garage where Josh was working on this trim, and he lifted it up through the window and I pulled it through here and I laid all the trim down here. He's gonna cut all the trim up here because there's no carpet or anything. And then he will be able to get all the trim up, which then means we can have this area painted and then we can have floors. And then Josh can move his office up here. So Josh is a drummer, so that's his drum kit. So he's been playing up here and he'll be able to bring his computer up here and everything. And that will be really good to have all this done. So it's kind of exciting that we are finally making progress on this area again. And I'm really, really excited about it. So once those doors are installed, I'll show you what it looks like and when we paint and do the remodel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really, really happy that progress is being made again. Another example where there were no doors when we purchased this house is in our laundry room. This is the linen closet, and I really don't want to look at all my linens all the time. So we went ahead and ordered doors for in here as well. So tomorrow, I won't have to stare at all the sheets and towels. So it's pretty exciting. Now back to fun kitchen things. I'm gonna give this a little stir. I don't want anything scorching on the bottom because it looks like that one clove may have gotten, or maybe not, a little brown. I did get a couple little containers out that we're gonna put our confit garlic and our infused oil in. The people that helped with the garlic peeling party, I not only tried to give them a really yummy dinner to enjoy, and that dinner turned out really good, is I'm gonna give them some of their fruits of their labor. They're gonna get some of the oil, garlic, and powdered garlic. So now I think we can get started on dinner because we've kind of got our preservation projects going. We are gonna use some of the leftover dinner from that party to make dinner tonight. I am going to throw together a really easy dinner. These are the leftover potatoes. So good. You think 40 garlic chicken, that's what we made, was too much garlic, but it was so good. And then I do have some leeks from the garden. I did not realize how much our garden is still blessing us every day. I just keep finding garden produce in here that's still good. We're gonna make like a hash, I think. I also picked up at Costco some Brussels sprouts, so we're gonna put some of those in there. So I'm keeping a really close eye on this garlic, but we should have plenty of time to get dinner going. I did pull out earlier today a pound of ground beef, so we're gonna use ground beef in this hash. These leeks look like it's good that we're getting to them today because we harvested these a while ago. I think I'm gonna wash them first. So to thaw my ground beef, I just put it in a bowl of some cold water and it should be ready for us in just a few minutes. So I'm just gonna peel off the outer layer of these leeks. Leeks get really, really dirty on the inside, so you not only have to wash them once, but we'll have to wash them again. And I'll show you how to do that. The green part of a leek is really, really tough, so we're just gonna use the really light green and the white part. This one went to seed, so that one's really tough, so we're not gonna use that one. So we're gonna use these ones. Compost this. So when you're cooking with leeks, you want to cut them length side down, and they can store a lot of dirt and sand on the inside with all these layers. So that's why you want to cut them in half and then cut them into slices. And then we're going to wash these slices to make sure we get any of that sand out of the rings. And this amount of leeks didn't end up being too many. And I brought up an onion, just a white onion. So I think I'm going to cut up an onion as well. This is going to be a really easy throw whatever you have in the pot and, you know, use what you got and make sure that things don't go to waste. So we're gonna transform these potatoes into something new so we don't just get sick of eating just potatoes. So those are our leeks. If you've never had a leek before, they're almost really, really sweet. I just grabbed an onion and they're absolutely delicious. So I would recommend you go out and you buy yourself a leek. They're easy to find at a grocery store, and try to cook with them sometime because you'll be surprised on the flavor. They do have an onion flavor, but it's a really, really sweet onion flavor. Now we're going to peel and dice up one onion. And then I'm going to take my Brussels sprouts, I'm going to cut the ends off them, and I'm going to cut them in half. These are pretty small Brussels sprouts, but I want everything to be about the same bite size. So we're going to go ahead and take a minute just to cut them in half, and that way they'll cook a little bit faster too. The chickens are gonna really enjoy the Brussels sprout ends. They love cabbage. I've been trying to go through in my head how I'm gonna cook all this because I want my Brussels sprouts to be really, really crispy, and I want my ground beef to be really, really brown. If I try to cook the Brussels sprouts in the same pan with the ground beef, because we're gonna make a hash, like a skillet, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get my Brussels sprouts really nice and brown and toasty. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 425 degrees, and we're gonna cook them separate, and then we'll mix them all together, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I love making hashes because you can just throw in whatever you want, whatever you have, and it's an all-in-one, and I just love them. They're delicious, and I haven't made one in a long time. I used to make a sweet potato sausage hash once a week, and I haven't made that in forever, but when I ran to Costco, I did buy a few sweet potatoes, so we'll be making that pretty soon. I'm going to go bring this to the chickens, and then we'll be right back. But I'm gonna first preheat the oven. I have a cookie sheet with some parchment. I just put the parchment because I hate cleaning cookie sheets. And I'm going to put our Brussels sprouts onto the cookie sheet. There's a little bit of oil left in this jar, so we're gonna put some oil on here. Make sure we use up everything in these jars. We're gonna add a little pepper, maybe a lot of pepper. And I have salt. And I am out of garlic powder, that's why we're making it. So if I had garlic powder, I would put that in here, but I don't, so we're just gonna mix this up. I'm going to take some of this oil that has garlic flavor in it, and I'm gonna put just a little bit of this. I'm gonna stir that while I'm here. I probably should have just used that, but that's okay. There we go. Oh, it smells so good in here already. I wish you could smell it. I guess only if you like the smell of garlic. Our oven is not quite preheated yet, so in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to heat, I'm going to just dice up these potatoes so that they are a little bit smaller. These potatoes have all sorts of yummy goodness flavor. From when we cooked it with the chicken, there's the onions that we cooked with it. These are the roasted garlic cloves that are just so delicious. So we're gonna get all these potatoes diced up. Now that our potatoes are all diced up and our oven's preheated, we can put our Brussels sprouts in the oven. And I did put our garlic and oil on the back burner because I wanted it on an even smaller burner. Oh goodness. I always have something in the oven. Because this was boiling just a little bit harder than I wanted, we're definitely starting to get some color on the garlic cloves, so we gotta watch it real close because we don't want anything to burn, but some of them don't have any color yet, but they are starting to soften. If you wanna do this, but you don't wanna go through the effort of peeling all the garlic, Costco sells a big bag of already pre-peeled garlic, and you could do the same thing with that. So that is just another option. And I wanted to say, let's go ahead and get the dinner going. so that as soon as we're done preserving the garlic, we can enjoy dinner. I have my cast iron skillet here. I'm going to turn the stove on. Not that one. We're going to brown our beef. Let's see if I have any more oil in one of these jars. I'm using the grass-fed beef I buy from a local rancher, and it's very, very, very lean, so it does need a little bit of oil on the bottom of your pan. So I've been letting this sit here and brown. I have not been turning it, but I'm about to turn it, so I'm going to season it with some salt and pepper. I wanted it to get really nice and brown before we flipped it. Let me show you the color we've got. Look at that yummy caramelized color. Look at that, yum, yum, yum. That is all, ooh, that got a little bit dark. Not burnt, but dark. So we're gonna let it brown on this side now. This is getting really close to being done. The garlic is getting really soft. I just want to get a little bit more color on the cloves. Okay, now that we've got some color on both sides, I'm gonna move on to the next step. I'm gonna break it up just a little bit so we kind of have more bite-sized pieces. And then we're gonna add our leeks and our onions. Get that in there. Now you all know that when I cook, I usually cook quite a bit because Josh and I rely on leftovers. I don't like cooking every day or have the pressure of cooking every day. And so if I cook a big batch, then we can enjoy that for our lunches to come because we try not to eat out for lunch. And so one way we can do that is I can make a big batch and we can eat our leftovers for lunch. But I know that not everyone likes to eat the same things over and over. And what I like to do too sometimes, like what we're doing with tonight's dinner, is we will take leftovers and turn them into something else. And so we can have a different flavor profile. So I'm gonna take these potatoes, instead of just eating them like roasted potatoes, we're gonna turn them into hash and have a bunch of other vegetables and flavors and seasonings to completely change up the meal. And I know some people don't even like to eat leftovers. So if you do this, you can think of these potatoes not as leftovers, but something you've pre-cooked or pre-prepped to turn into another meal later on in the week. The potatoes is one example here, but I did the exact same thing yesterday. With last night's dinner, I took the chicken from the 40 garlic chicken and I turned it into chicken Alfredo, and we had pasta with Alfredo sauce and chicken. There wasn't enough chicken to make, a whole bunch for a bunch of leftovers. So that's why I needed to make dinner tonight, because we enjoyed that last night. There was just enough for that. But I didn't have to work on cooking I need to turn this down. I didn't have to work on cooking a protein last night for dinner because I already had it pre-cooked in the refrigerator. So that's just an example of making your meals work for you instead of you necessarily having to start from scratch every time you want to cook a meal. If you've already pre-prepped some things, it makes your life just that much easier. So I want to check on our Brussels sprouts, and those look like they have some nice color to them. So we'll go ahead and get this out of the oven. Perfect. If I cooked these Brussels sprouts in with our hash, I would not have been able to get this nice golden brown color, which is what we're after. That's flavor that we want. Our garlic is almost done, but I want to get these potatoes to start warming up. So we're going to get these in our cast iron. These potatoes are already completely cooked. We just need them to be warmed. And this right here is our onions and roasted garlic from the chicken recipe, and I do not want that to go to waste. That is just pure, unadulterated, delicious flavor. So I'm going to mix these potatoes in with our onions and garlic. We're also going to put in our Brussels sprouts. We're going to mix that in. I wish you all could smell it. It smells so good. So our garlic is now roasted. It's got some good brown color to it, and the cloves are starting to fall apart. So I think we're gonna call this done. You can see that nice roasty browny color on there. That's perfect. All right, now we have our oil here. I'm gonna let this cool just a little bit, and we're gonna deal with this garlic. You can see it a little bit better now, but you can see how nice and brown those garlic cloves are. So what we're gonna do, I'm putting this confit garlic into these little jars. If I had more 4-ounce jars, I would put all of this confit garlic into 4-ounce jars. This only lasts in the refrigerator for about a week or two. I'll have to look it up, and I can put in the description box exactly how long it lasts. But I had a bunch of it go bad on me last year because I put way too much into the refrigerator and it molded on me. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to stick them in the freezer, and then I can take out one jar and I can use that to cook with for a week or so. And then I will ensure that I don't have it go bad on me. So I would, if I had more 4-ounce jars, do all of this in 4-ounce jars, but I'm going to do half of it in these half pints, but I'm only going to fill them about halfway full. Because the last thing you want, which happened to me last year, especially when this is homegrown and home peeled, you do not want it to go bad on you, because that's just devastating. So we're going to get these full, or no, I'm going to get them half full. I'm not filling these all the way. And you can use this in all sorts of recipes. You can use this to make garlic butter. You can use it just to flavor any dish with roasted garlic flavor. You can use it on pizza, pasta, roasts, anything you would want garlic flavor, but it to have a more depth of garlic flavor. This is what you want to use.
I am putting a little bit of the oil in the bottom of each jar just so that when I put the garlic cloves on top, then I'm not trapping any air bubbles. I don't want any air bubbles in this, and that is why I'm starting with the little bit of oil on the bottom.
While I'm still filling those up and I'm waiting for my dinner to heat up, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the oven back up to 350, and I'm going to throw this hash in the oven so that it can kind of warm all the way through those potatoes, not just from the bottom up. I don't want the bottom to burn while I'm focused on something else. So we are not canning this garlic. We are going to freeze it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to clean up the edges on these jars just so that they are nice and neat. And then I'm going to use some reused canning lids, ones that I've already used. This was raspberry jam at one point. This looks like I never marked it. And we'll put a lid on it with the ring. I'll let these cool, and then I'll throw them in the freezer. And you can see how I only filled that jar halfway full. I don't know of any canning recipe where you could can this much oil. I just don't see that happening, because I know I'll get the question if we could pressure can this. But when you can something with so much oil in it, when and if it siphons, it inhibits the seal. So I wouldn't think that there would be a recipe out there where you could can this, but this will just go in the freezer and we'll be able to enjoy it. Just take, one out, use it for a recipe or two, and that is that. So I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be, I think people are really going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy it. The little ones that aren't half full, I'll gift these to the people that came and helped me, just so that they have a full jar, but I do want to make sure I clean it nicely for them. And I'm excited that I'm freezing these so we don't have them go bad, because I lost about an entire pint of this roasted garlic, confit garlic, to mold last year. And that was really, really sad. Not only is it a beautiful product you don't want to lose because it tastes delicious, but I hand peeled all those garlic cloves and I grew them and it was pretty devastating. So we're not going to make that mistake this year. Now we're going to take care of the oil portion of this. And I've got our oil here. Got a funnel. I have a larger funnel somewhere and I don't know where it is. So we're just going to use this little one. I'm going to try to do this really slow so that I don't spill it everywhere. I think I'm going to get a smaller scoop because that's too big. I'm making a mess. Let's see if this littler one does a better job for us. Oh yeah. You can use this oil just like you would any oil and it'll impart some really good garlic flavor. You could put it in salad dressing. You could dip your homemade bread in or store-bought bread for really good garlic flavor. Okay, so we got 2, plus we still have this, so I'm going to work on putting that in something. We still need to finish dinner, so I'm going to shred up some different cheeses that I have, and we're going to top our hash with some cheese. I'm going to try to use up these little pieces first that I have in the fridge. So this is some, what is this? Monterey Jack. This is sharp cheddar. And here's some more sharp cheddar. We might need a little bit of this as well. Since I'm shredding cheese, I'm going to go ahead and shred a little bit extra and I'll put it in the fridge for another night. I don't know what I'll need it for, but I know I'll need it for something. So next time I need cheese, I won't have to shred it. This is what the hash is looking like in the oven. Super beautiful. We've got all those beautiful colors, potatoes, Brussels sprouts, onions. I had turned the oven off just so that I could get the things, see, I make a mess. Just so that I could get the things done that I need to get done without this overcooking. Nice layer of cheese. There we go, beautiful. Okay. Always trying to think of my future self and what's going to make my life easier. I'm going to reuse one of these avocado bottles to finish filling up and using up this oil. I'll just note what it is so that I don't use it in a dessert or something like that, because that would be a little bit sad. So as soon as these are completely cool to the touch, I'm going to throw them all in the freezer, except for the ones that I'm going to give to the people that helped me, and we'll keep one in the fridge to cook with. We got 13 of them. We have 3 jars of garlic oil, and this is going to go to great use. I'm just going to store this downstairs in the basement in a cool area. We'll keep one up here, and then I still need to mark garlic oil on this one. I did put the broiler on, so we're going to broil the top of this hash. Our dinner is done. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Let's go ahead and serve this up. Josh, do you want to come do a taste test? All right. Sometimes the simplest of foods can be the most delicious. That was so easy. No recipe was needed whatsoever. You can make hash with anything you have in your house. Onions, peppers, zucchini, cabbage, sausage, ground beef, chicken, whatever you want. I'm gonna add to mine a little bit of, this is the balsamic dressing that we made for the salad. I'm just gonna take a little spoonful, and that's just gonna help balance a little bit of all the rich flavors we have in our hash. We're gonna add a little bit of vinegary zinginess. I do have pickled onions in the fridge too that could add a really nice flavor to this, but I think I'm just gonna drizzle maybe a teaspoon of that over the top. Josh ate a really late lunch today, so he's not gonna give this a taste test, but I am going to. I'm gonna get a little bit of the beef, a piece of potato, and a Brussels sprout with a little bit of that balsamic. Brussels sprouts and balsamic just go hand in hand. This is like the perfect fall dish. And the cool thing about hash is you can kind of cook it and change it with the seasons depending on what is in season, and this is like a perfect fall hash. Adding this to the top takes it over the edge. Yeah? Yeah, do you want to come do a taste test? Okay, Josh is going to come do a taste test. He did have a late lunch, so I wasn't sure if he was wanting to eat dinner right now. I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat, but I'm going to dish him up some, give him a taste test.
Is that balsamic glaze?
Yeah, it's the balsamic dressing that I made the other night for the salad. But I thought it would go really well with the Brussels sprouts and potatoes. Those are our potatoes and our leeks.
Awesome. It smells really good.
Good?
Tastes really good too. Yeah.
It's good, friends. And like I said, you can really make hash with whatever you want. Simple ingredients, no recipe needed. You can enjoy it.
I love a good balsamic reduction too.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Thanks, son.
You're welcome. Well, whenever you want more dinner, it's ready for you. Okay. We were able to get a lot of things done. Dinner, couple food preservation projects, and one we'll finish up next time we're in the kitchen together, which is turning the freeze-dried garlic into garlic powder, plus what other, you know, kitchen shenanigans we have going on around here. Shenanigans. And then I will bring you along, because as soon as those doors are installed tomorrow, or Josh is, probably not super excited about it, but
I'm excited to get it done.
Yeah, he's excited to get it done. So he's going to start the mill work and the trim and everything like that. So thank you so much for hanging out with me in my kitchen. I greatly appreciate every single one of you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. If you enjoyed this and you want to watch some more of my other videos, I'll pop them right there for your enjoyment. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.